G'day guys! Disney Dave coming at you once again from Down Under. Today we are taking a look at my Star Wars Marvel comic collection. This is a collection made entirely up of Marvel's new Star Wars comics, which basically makes up the main bulk of the expanded universe these days. I don't really have too many of the older Marvel comics or any of the Dark Horse comics or anything like that. Really my collection, I'm just sort of focusing on the brand new expanded universe. So I want to show you my collection. I'm missing a couple of titles at the moment, but I'll show you the collection that I have so far, and I'll sort of give you an idea of how to read these chronologically. If you are new to the series, I came new into this series after, I think there were 2 volumes of the Star Wars and 2 volumes of the Darth Vader ongoing series released already, so I had to sort of figure out for myself what order to read them in chronologically. You'd sort of assume that you'd read them as they were released, but in some cases that isn't the case. It's sort of a little bit out of order, and if you do want to get like a full proper picture of what's going on in the expanded universe, sort of read it chronologically, I'll give you a good idea of how to do that as well. Of course you can read all the ongoing series individually, but some of them do cross over in major crossover events, and then some of them also you sort of get little story threads from one series peeking into the other series, and so it's sort of important to read the whole scope of everything as opposed to just one series. Now I did say I don't have any of the older Marvel stuff or any of the Dark Horse, but that's a little bit of a lie. As I've shown you in a past video, I do have 2 of the epic collections here. This is the Star Wars Infinities one, which has got alternate takes on Star Wars Episode 4, 5, and 6. And then this one here is the original Marvel comics that they published back in the 1970s and 1980s. It's the first volume of them. None of these are considered canon anymore. Well, that was never considered canon because it's alternate versions. This, well, its place in the canon was sort of questionable because there's some really odd stuff in this series. The only thing really canon in the original Marvel years is the adaptation of A New Hope, which has recently been re-released as like a remastered thing where they've recolored it, made it look more like a modern comic. They did that with A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. They've all been released in hardcover. They have also released the Dark Horse adaptations of Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith in hardcover. I'm waiting for them to all come out in trade paperback before I add them to my collection, because I just want like a trade paperback collection here, and I have them all placed on my shelf in order of chronology. So when I do pick up the films, I'll place the films in this collection here, and it'll be a nice concise chronology of the expanded universe split up by the films. I'm really excited to be able to do that. The A New Hope trade paperback is available now. Haven't picked it up yet. It's still quite expensive. I'm waiting it to drop below $20. Usually I'll be able to pick these up for $19, $18 maybe local currency. Now I'm also missing from this collection the Kanan comics. I haven't really got into Rebels yet. It's really good. I've seen a couple episodes of it and I know I can really get into it, but I have to finish off Clone Wars first. So the Rebels comics aren't in here yet, but I should pick them up just in case they go out of print at some point. Okay, so first up, chronologically wise, we've got this. This is really good. Obi-Wan and Anakin. This is what's considered a limited run comic. It's a series of 5 issues. This is set between episodes 1 and 2, and sort of the struggle between Obi-Wan and Anakin after the death of Qui-Gon. This is set a few years after the Phantom Menace, of course. It's actually quite good. It adds some real depth to the characters. The artwork in there is really, really awesome. I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I actually thought I would. Next up is Chewbacca. This is another limited run series of 5 issues. Actually haven't read this one yet. This is one of the only ones I haven't read. Artwork in it is a little odd. It's a little bit more cartoonish. I don't know. It almost looks like it's a bit of a kid's comic. I don't know. I'll tackle that one at one point. This is set sometime after A New Hope. There's no precise timing of when this takes place in the canon, but I've placed it there because that's just sort of, I don't know. It takes place there somewhere. Princess Leia, I absolutely love this. Another limited run, 5 issues. This is fantastic. The artwork in here. Well then, look, I was ragging on the Chewbacca comic for being a bit kiddish, but this is sort of the same too. But I think I like the charm in this. It's sort of got the same sort of style as the Pseudoconic Captain Marvel series. It's sort of aimed at females, I suppose. Gives them a really good look at Princess Leia. This is set directly after A New Hope, like within seconds of of the end of A New Hope. I really, really like this. This is highly recommended. Then we get on to some really good stuff. This is the first issue of the ongoing Star Wars series. This has got the very first 6 issues of this series, which takes place just a little bit after the Princess Leia series. And of course, Darth Vader Volume 1 as well, which has the first 6 issues of the Darth Vader comic. They're split into what are called books. If you're not a huge comic collector, books are series of usually about 6 issues which have a story arc. So each one is a book. This is how I prefer to collect them. I don't mind dropping $19 on these when they're released to add to a collection like this, like a proper book thing, as opposed to paying $10 a week for a comic, because then the prices really stack up. And they look cool in the collection as little books. Now these two basically are read concurrently. So basically you read Star Wars 1, then Darth Vader 1, then Star Wars 2, Darth Vader 2, Star Wars 3, etc, 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 because the events in these comics are sort of running at the same place. Things that happen in this affect things that happen in this, and vice versa. Then we get on to Star Wars Volume 2, Showdown on Smuggler's Moon, and Vader Volume 2, Shadows and Secrets. These have got 6 issues in them as well, and again concurrently Star Wars 7, Darth Vader 7, Star Wars 8, Darth Vader 8, etc, etc. These are really good. I'll give you an idea of the artwork in these. I love it. I love the artwork. It's really cinematic and just so cool. And the Star Wars ones, yeah, similar thing. Really cool artwork. It just, like I said, feels really cinematic, feels like you're reading a movie. And then, of course, we get this, Vader Down. This is the first major crossover series, starting with the Star Wars Vader Down one-shot crossover, and then after that, you get Star Wars 13 to 15, and then Vader 13 to 15, and that's sort of the order you read them in. It's all laid out in the book, what order you should read it all as, like this massive epic. That is so cool. I really like that. And then from there on, you sort of don't read them concurrently. You go Star Wars Volume 3, Rebel Jail. This is one entire book, one entire plot line. Read that entirely, in its entirety. That's only 5 issues because of the way that the Vader Down comic sort of affected the timeline. Read them all at once. Then you get Darth Vader Volume 3, Shu Turan War. Read all 4 of these issues plus the annual in order, because that's one long storyline. Again, sort of story threads pop up from that last one, but chronologically this takes place just after the events of the Star Wars one. It sort of makes sense when you're reading it. It sounds a little confusing. Directly after Darth Vader Volume 3, you will then read Darth Vader Volume 4, End of Games. This is the final 6 issues of the Darth Vader series. It is awesome, takes place directly after the last volume, and then you read it all at once. Artwork is spectacular as always, really cool, love it, and that's the end of the Darth Vader series, the first volume of the Darth Vader series. And then from there, we've got Star Wars Volume 4, Last Flight of the Harbinger. Really enjoyed this book. This was fantastic, a whole lot of fun. It feels like, it's really like a buddy story, road movie kind of thing. It's a lot of fun, and I love this one. I love this one so much. That's got another 6 issues in it as well. And then I think the next volume of Star Wars takes place earlier, or maybe the 6th volume. I think it's the 5th volume. It's like a Yoda origin story or something like that. It's like a Yoda story that takes place, I think might be before the prequels. I'm not too sure, but it's like this. It's this Yoda story, and it takes place earlier in the canon. And then there's going to be Dr. Aphra. Dr. Aphra is this cool character here. Really cool Star Wars female character right there. And she now has her own ongoing series, which sort of picks up loose ends from the Vader series, apparently, and ties into the Star Wars ones as well. And then after that, there will be The Empire Strikes Back. Of course, the Star Wars is still ongoing. Dr. Aphra is still ongoing, and they will slot before The Empire Strikes Back. I'm not too sure how many issues they'll actually do until it leads up to Empire Strikes Back, but I'm sure they'll get to a point where they reach the next film, and then they'll wrap around that, or something. I don't know. But then after Empire Strikes Back comes this, Lando, another limited run series. This is so cool. I love this so much fun, great artwork in there. And this sort of takes place, it's sort of indescript, but it is sometime after A New Hope and before Empire Strikes Back. Really cool. I love it. Han Solo. This is so brilliant. I've literally just read this one. Artwork, fantastic. This is so much fun. It feels like a 1970s, 1980s road movie again. So much humor, so much action, so much love. They have treated this character so well. This takes place between A New New Hope, at Empire Strikes Back. Again, it's sort of unclear, but I feel like it's taking place closer to Empire Strikes Back than A New Hope. So it's somewhat distanced to the ongoing Star Wars series. Then we've got this one here, which is Star Wars Shattered Empire. This takes place just after Return of the Jedi. It's sort of taking place during the end sequence of Return of the Jedi and sort of leads out of the movie. This was designed, it says here, Journey to Star Wars The Force Awakens. This was like a tie-in comic. It was supposed to give like a background, a backstory to Poe Dameron's parents. I really enjoyed it, but it's sort of one of the weaker stories. There's only 4 issues of that. And then, of course, Poe Dameron. We were talking about Poe Dameron just before, but this is the first issue of the Poe Dameron series. I just got this one in the mail yesterday, and I'm really loving the artwork that I'm seeing in here. Poe Dameron is a great character. I really loved him in The Force Awakens, and I'm really excited to read his adventures leading up to The Force Awakens. This is another ongoing series, so there's another volume of the Poe Dameron series coming out in trade paperback really, really soon. Okay, so that brings us to the end of my Star Wars Marvel comic collection. As you can see, I've got just a select few Marvel comics here as well. I'll do another video somewhere down the line where I'll sort of go through all this. As I pick up more Star Wars comics, I'll show them on the channel. I'll do a quick review. I'll show you a little bit of the art. And yeah, I'm loving these so much. I have never been into the Star Wars expanded universe, but as soon as Disney came in and wiped the slate clean, it gave me the chance to go, well, you know what? There's no longer 40 years worth of material to try and catch up on. Let's dive into it. I'm absolutely loving it. It is so good. It adds this great depth to the original movies and sort of ties all these great plot points together. And you sort of get this mix between the prequels and the original trilogy coming in there. If you're a Star Wars fan, get your hands on some of these. If you don't want to collect the entire series, just get your hands on some of them because they are so much fun. There's a lot of humor. There's a lot of action, a lot of adventure, and they have got the writers have just got the characters down to a T. It's absolutely perfect. I'm loving it so much. Okay, well, that's the end of my video today. If you're a first-time viewer, if this is the first time you've stumbled across one of my videos and you like what you see, please, after the jump, do me a solid and hit subscribe. To all my regular viewers, thank you once again for joining me. It means absolutely the world to me that you keep coming back for these crazy videos. To absolutely everybody out there, thank you for joining me. I hope I'll see you again soon. Until then though, guys, take care and I hope you have a magical day.